on Coleman. Count on Coleman. If your world is looking strange, you can count on Coleman for change.
Hi, Baton Rouge. District 10, you know you in it. I say welcome to the Coleman Cares podcast, where we do our level best in educating our people. You know that is of utmost important, because when we know better, we do better. And so, Baton Rouge, guess what? I have one of Baton Rouge's finest here with me. You all know me. I don't fool with nothing but the best. And so I bring to you today a gentleman he's an attorney now, Attorney Vernon Wesley Thomas, and he's here with me in the studio live. And what I'm going to do is yield to him at this time, because I can say all kinds of things, but who can say it best but the one and only Attorney Vernon Wesley Thomas.
Now, you're going to go ahead and get me in trouble with the ethics board right now?
Oh, no, I'll scratch that from the record, ethics, please.
So I'll go into the introduction of who I am and whose I am.
Please.
So my name is Vernon Wesley Thomas. I'm going to look at you and the camera.
There
so
you go.
As natural as possible.
That's correct.
My name is Vernon Wesley Thomas, son of Vernon Palmer Thomas and Sarah Moody Thomas, grandson of Coach Horace Wesley Moody and Carolyn Moody, nephew of Reverend Mary E. Moody, and I'm running for judge here in the 19th JDC. Now look, you were one of the proponents of the Vernon Moody Thomas campaign.
That is correct.
And so I wanted to get a lot of awareness out, not just about who I am, but whose I am. Because that's incredibly important. And I have a legacy here in Baton Rouge that I want people to understand is forged in blood and by choice. And I tell people that very, very seriously, because I'm deeply connected here in the community. Now look, the portion of this that is campaign connected is FACE, which is fairness, accountability, compassion, and efficiency. So what's the fairness? Fairness is making sure that you treat people with equity, right? Not equality, equity, because one glove doesn't fit every person. What is accountability? Now, accountability starts with self. It starts with self. And also under that, we make sure that victims and plaintiffs are treated well and get the care that they need. But also that people are held to the consequences of their actions. Now, what is the compassion part? Compassion is one of the ones that I lean on best, and I'll get a little bit further down the line on compassion. But compassion means, bottom line, putting people in the best position possible to receive the best possible outcome, treating people with dignity and respect. And what is efficiency? I'm a military man, so I like things to be quick, fast, understood, and done. Right? And so I will use whatever avenues I have to decrease the shortage of the backlog at the 19th JDC. So FACE, I call myself the next face of justice here in Baton Rouge, but bottom line, the acronym is an accurate reflection of who I am as a person.
You all heard that. I really could drop the mic right there, but I dare not. And just to know that you're really a Moody.
Yes, I am.
And then you are a veteran. And so you are appealing to many out there. The Moody's were respectable, or I should say, respectable people. And why do I say that? They are a family of folk that have always been there in a service component. I mean, there to help people, those that were less fortunate,
yes, ma'am,
those that were in need, those that were elevated, all over the place. You're talking about the Moody's.
So we're talking about educators, preachers,
yes,
men in industry and service.
Yes.
We're talking about engineers.
Yes.
We're talking about, for my own mother, a doctorate in psychology. Now, I'm not going to short my other side of my family, the Thomases, because my father was a lawyer, graduated top of his class 1979 at Southern University Law Center, the greatest law center on the face of this earth.
Wow.
I have a brother that also graduated from Southern Law, Hunter. I want to say hello to him and his family as well, 2017, and I was 09. And so when you asked me offline how I view myself and how I talk about myself when I introduce kind of what I'm bringing to the table, I say father, soldier, lawyer, man, servant. And however which way you want to go ahead and put those for that particular situation appropriate, that's who I am. And so I've been a prosecutor. I've been a public defender here in East Baton Rouge Parish. I've been in private criminal defense. I've done successions, wills, trusts. I've clerked for 2 criminal district court judges, one here and one in New Orleans. I've had a robust military practice. Oh man, as I go back to it, I was commissioned as a lieutenant, and now I'm a major in the United States Army JAG Corps Reserve. I spent a year at Fort Campbell in Division Administrative Law. I spent a year at Fort Bragg as a military prosecutor, prosecuting sex crimes for the military with the 95th Civil Affairs Brigade. And I have been a brigade judge advocate and a command judge advocate for United States Army Cadet Command. And I've been the legal advisor for 2 generals and 2 full bird colonels. And so that career has spanned about 13 years. I'm up for lieutenant colonel, hopefully if I get educationally qualified in the next year. And I've also been a survivor, right? And I tell people this all the time. When I was in law school, I got into a bit of we'll call it a kerfluffle because we're out here on normal airways.
Yes.
But I got into a fight. I had a little bit too much youth and creatine in my system, and somebody tried to run me off the road, and I wound up getting 4 knife wounds in me. And so my body bears the wounds of the violence that can occur on these streets. And so when I tell people I am an accurate reflection of what can happen when you make good decisions and what can happen when the world just decides that it wants to go ahead and take a bite out of you. Mm-hmm. I mean that, and I stand on everything. And I tell people all the time, people ask me, and I think this is going to probably dovetail into your next question, if you have it in your mind, Councilwoman, because I know you got a bunch of questions for me.
Well, I mean, you've answered many, but go right on.
I think people deserve to have their faith rewarded. And when I say people deserve to have their faith rewarded, it means that you deserve to have a candidate, a judge, because for most people, a judge is the first elected official you're going to come across, right?
Okay.
For most people. Now, present company notwithstanding, because I know you are in District 10, all over District 10.
All over.
Most people won't get a chance to meet their congressman, their federal congressman, or their federal senator. But you may run afoul of the criminal justice system with a ticket. And we'll start low-hanging fruit. And who's going to be adjudicating that particular situation? It's going to be a judge. And a judge is elected. And so this campaign, more than anything, has been about awareness. It's been about making sure that people understand, getting to the research, who the candidates are, and making sure that the candidates best represent the issues that they feel are most important to the community, and somebody that's been in the community.
Yes, and that is of utmost importance, not just getting out here now, not just moving to the community, but has been in the community, doing the work, and really following that legacy. That is of utmost importance, and I appreciate that.
Well, it's not just the resume, though. It's the fact that every time I've gotten out and spoken with people, canvassing, talking with folks, going to church, and I've seen you at a lot of these events too.
Yes.
Who is that?
Wow, that's it.
And so it's been the interaction that I've had with people and the genuine shock and surprise when you tell them, hey, look, there's an election going on. The genuine lack of just attention to detail that sometimes winds up permeating in the communities when people don't know that the election is going on and how their district has been realigned.
Yes.
And that has been one of the biggest things that I want people to talk about sometimes when they talk with me. Hey, look, get to the awareness part, understand where your district is. Has your voter registration card gotten to your house? Do you know what this district covers? And do you know why this particular election is important? And so for me, having been in the courtroom on multiple sides as an advocate, prosecution, defense, staff attorney, victim, survivor of violent crime, I think it's a very unique blend and a 360-degree perspective on justice that I think people understand when they speak with me, because I'm here for everybody. I talk to everybody, and I will be accessible if elected. So I always want that to come out first. I always want to be and endeavor to be the most sincere person that I can be when I'm speaking to people, because long after whoever's elected, and I want it to be me, and I'm sure you have your picks and chooses about who you want it to be.
I have my pick and my choice. Yes, indeed.
The people need to know first that you care.
Yes, that is of utmost importance there. And you mentioned about the area that the district that you are going to be representing,
yes, ma'am,
what it covers. So tell the audience, first of all, who you will be replacing and just how that district is running.
So the district was originally Section O, or Division O, excuse me, Section 1, Division O, was originally a 95% black majority sub-district, right? And so it encompassed from about where North Baton Rouge is, and then kind of dovetailed to parts of South Baton Rouge. Mm-hmm. Now with the House Bill 243 that was signed in June, right before we qualified, the district is exponentially larger. So we go from 96,000 registered voters to about 126,000 more registered voters. You go from a 95% black sub-district to now a 63% majority and minority district. That's 3 times as large, going from Zachary through Baker on down through North Baton Rouge, dovetailing around parts of Sherwood Forest and missing Goodwood though.
Yes.
Missing Goodwood, Section 1 misses Goodwood, and then coming all the way down a little bit further past Skip Bertman Stadium. So it's an expansive district now. And so for many people that I've spoken to in Zachary and Baker, they didn't even know an election was going on. They had not received their updated voter registration cards. They were not aware of any of the new changes in polling stations. And so we've been encouraging people on our website to go ahead and make sure that you are registered to vote, right?
Yes.
And if you are not registered, right, it may be too late now for early voting and for October 11th, but to make sure that you go on our website and hit the voting app, and it will take you to the GoVote website so that you can register in case there's a runoff for the November 15th runoff election. And I tell people all the time, we can't give up. We can't give up. Raw action is the key. Raw action is the key. If we are, and more than anything right now, Councilwoman, because of the amount of turnout for early voting, and I think it was about 2,891 people turned out for early voting.
Okay.
That means that the rule of one is in effect. One family, right? One person, one church can sway the entire election, right? The rule of one, your vote matters. Your vote counts, your family's vote counts, the congregation's vote counts. And people need to understand that.
They really do. You hear some folks say, well, I don't know what's going on, or I'm just one vote. That just one vote can make the difference there. One. And so definitely it is of utmost importance that we get up, go out, and vote. Don't just register. No, you got to finish this process. And that is, you've got to register and you must go and vote. And you heard the area that he said that it covers, people. And so I tell you, I'm going to challenge my people to rise up and go and vote.
No, wait, are you offering rise to the polls? I know we are. No, are you?
Let me tell you, I can guarantee you, if they called here to this Leo S. Butler Center and say they need a ride, you will get there. We don't turn any of our people away when it comes down to service. I want you to know that. And so, yes, sir, we must. if we're going to be advocates of the importance of registering, the importance of voting, we've got to finish that thing, and that is to provide the ride. And then here in 10, for sure, there are a lot of senior citizens who do not have the ride that they need. And so, yes, we shall. And I want the record to reflect that everything is clear and clean. Just because we given a ride there doesn't mean that we are telling them who to vote for either. So we want to make sure we don't have any ethical issues there. But I can say this, Baton Rouge, we've got to have the right person in this position, and you all know that I don't fool with nothing but the best, in order that there can be collective collaboration. And so that is of utmost importance. And at this point, I got to tell you that Vernon Wesley Moody Thomas number is number 4. Number 4. And it is of utmost importance that we get up and get out. And so, yeah, there will be a game on the day of election, but guess what? We're bigger than the game. Guess what? Early voting is going on right now.
On the 27th, it will end October 4th. And I tell people all the time, everybody within earshot of your podcast that's looking at this right now, you know what's going on, but does your neighbor, right? Do their children. Each one must reach one. And I know it sounds cliche, but right now when we're talking about our right to not have our vote diluted, right?
That's
our
correct.
Right to make sure that we have accurate representation in positions that matter to our people.
That is correct.
Right?
That
we
is
need
correct.
to make sure that we are on the ground floor as an army with a groundswell of support to make sure that the process is protected. And this may not be politically correct, and my team may get mad at me for saying this, but even if you don't vote number 4, and I'm gonna shamelessly plug myself here, number 4, get out there and exercise your right to vote.
Yes.
Because people have fought and died. Many people have fought and died. And I tell people all the time, I'm young enough to where I remember that hip hop wasn't considered a genre of music. But now I'm old enough now at 44, right, to be able to listen to Frankie Beverly and Maze and understand that now is the time where my generation needs to bridge the gap between your generation and Gen Z, because they're just uninspired at the moment.
They are.
Right? They're just uninspired at the moment.
But I believe that knowledge, they've got to rise up. And I tell you right now, we have a population of those Gen Zs that have voiced the statement that they really ready and they want to be involved. So I say to them, if you're really serious and you want to be involved, I need you registered. I need you reaching out to your friends. I need you to make sure that they are registered. And I need you to go and vote. Early voting is going on right now. I need you to get up. That's 19th Judicial District Court. Now that's a mouthful right there.
Just say 19 JDC.
19 JDC. But I could.
Division O.
What? 1 Division O. But I tell you what, you don't have to worry about all of that. If you just look for that number 4, you'll be doing the right thing there. Vernon W. Moody Thomas. I cannot leave that out. And I want to appeal to the students at Southern University, LSU, Baton Rouge Community College, and all of our high schools. We have some 18-year-olds, even some 17-year-olds who are almost 18. You got to rise up.
So interesting fact, Councilwoman. I was actually over at campus during the game day. We were tailgating. I saw you too. I appreciate it.
Yes,
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I got to.
And some people walked up on me and they were like, look, we just graduated. How do we register? And I said, funny you should ask. Let me bring you to my website. And even if you do not vote for me, or even if you're not registered to vote in Louisiana, here's how the process is going to go. And if you can register now, because you're going to be here for at least 4 years.
That's it.
My team and I, we've gone on almost all of the campuses and done a voter registration drive, LSU and Southern. I was walking out there with a QR code, just speaking to people, just making sure that they understood and had the awareness of what was going on right now, not just politically, but for themselves to be involved in the process, because you can't say that you want to change the process if you're not involved. And right now we're here 1-to-1. It's not the Electoral College, right? Well,
That's right.
And I can tell you how it works, but I'm not even sure if it works the way that they say it works.
That's right. That's right.
But in a 1-to-1, where every person's vote counts as one, nothing is more important than your local elections, because they will have a direct effect on the community, right? And somebody you love. So I can't emphasize that enough.
Well said. Well said. So you all have heard, we can't stress it anymore. The fact that you must register, you must go out and vote. And I'm going to say it, and you must vote for number 4, Vernon W. Moody Thomas. Vernon W. Thomas, AKA Moody. And you know, you were on campus on Saturday, and Congressman Fields had a voter registration going on. And it is my desire that, yes, as a result of that voter registration, that number 4 will definitely get much of that. And so I am so grateful to have you here and to hear about all that you've done, all the places that you've gone,
yes, ma'am.
the legacy, all of that, and what you've done. You've remained true to the game.
Yes, ma'am.
You have remained a Democrat. You ain't hopping all over the place either. You have remained true to the game. If you chose to go the other way, stay committed in whatever it is that you're going to do. But I am grateful, and that's why I can stand with you, because to thine own self be true. To thine own self be true. And so I'm going to yield to you, and anything you want to say to the big Baton Rouge, the best Baton Rouge there is, the best district there is, District 10, I'm going to yield to you and let you close us out.
You know, every time you do an introduction, I feel like anything that I say is going to fall short, because you just give that robust introduction, and I feel that I just don't live up to it sometimes.
Oh, but you do. But you do. But you do.
But I'll say this. When you want to have your day in court, I'm going to speak to you and I'm going to speak to the audience. When you want to have your day in court, you want somebody whose principles are based in compassion, experience, and what you said earlier was consistency.
Yes.
Now, I've talked about compassion, but I'm going to say it again. Compassion is putting everyone in the best position possible to receive the best possible outcome. And when I say that, that goes for the defendant, who also has a presumption of innocence, the victim who may have been hurt by someone, the plaintiff who may have been injured in a car accident, because this may be a both criminal and civil suit. So I have to go ahead and put that out there. But also the juridical entity that may be bankrupted by a ruling that you make. The experience winds up turning into a glorified resume boost, and I don't have to do that for you all. But consistency, right? Consistency means making sure that your rulings are consistent with the law that is present. If you do not know something, making diligent efforts to ensure that you learn that particular subject matter, and oftentimes making sure that you are looking to others for the wisdom that you may or may not have in those particular situations. And I've had the pleasure of watching 2 wonderful judges make those decisions with clarity and fortitude. And so when people ask me why I want to do that, right, I tell people, you're not a number, right? You are not a number. You are a person,
That's
right? People seem to think that the bill of information and defendant, the title defendant, is all that you are when you come in front of a judge. No, you are a person. And my job, if elected, will be to make sure that the process is protected. The process. See, a lot of times people rush to sentencing. They rush to crime and punishment, when really and truly there are a whole bunch of steps in between that a judge must observe and protect. For example, what are the first 4 questions that people normally ask, right, when somebody is arrested? One, What did he do? Allegedly, because we still have the presumption of innocence. 2, how much is bail, right? Bail being the number, bond being the collateral used to secure your release, with bail not meant to be punitive, just to secure your return. 3, can I afford an attorney, a competent private attorney? If not, is the public defender in that section competent? 4, is the judge fair? And you may ask those questions in a bunch of different order sometimes, but those are the top 4. And while everybody seems to be rushing to figure out how we're going to deal with the violence on our streets, I say, yes, that is a problem. I get it. I understand it. But if we rush to one aspect of the process and we negate everything else, then we wind up doing everyone a disservice. And so the judge is there to be the arbiter, to be the neutral and detached magistrate, and to protect the process before you even get to crime and punishment. And I like to make sure that that gets out there, because that gets lost when people start talking about, hey, well, what about this and what about that? No, protect the process, because when it's your son or it's your daughter, right, on either side, you want to make sure that the process is protected so that you know justice was served correctly.
So, Baton Rouge, you've heard it. I tell you, I love gleaning from brilliance, and especially young people. And so, yeah, I can call this gentleman young here, but I love that. I love that gleaning from young people. So you've heard it. And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a shout out to my son, Sam and Edwin. You all had better listen to this podcast in order that you all can, build and know that, yeah, he's brilliant too. And so, Baton Rouge, I say to you, I thank you for tuning in. I thank you for listening to our now.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Okay.
I want you to trust me that I'm going to keep my word.
Okay.
I trust that all of you will get out and vote and do your due diligence, do your duty, make sure that the process is protected, make sure that your vote matters, because it does.
There you go. And remember, Coleman cares.
Count on Coleman. Count on Coleman. If your world is looking strange, you can count on Coleman for change.